I'm going to show you how to make an ambient pad in the all-new Korg Trinity VST. To get started here, we're just going to click on the name of the current preset, go over to Bank, and come down to one of the user preset, and just click anywhere in here that says init program, and that gives us the initialized program. Now, what I like to do right off the bat is just come to the amp envelope here for oscillator 1, drag all these out, and I like to just shape the pad envelope first here. So just helps to get like the context of how the sound's going to evolve over time, and then we can always just start stacking out or putting in different oscillators rather. So start with the amp envelope for a pad, ease in on the attack, fade out a little bit of sustain, good bit of release. Now, I do hate how you edit the envelopes on the Trinity VST. It's not the best. Kind of a giant pain in the ass. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it on here. Anyway, so we have our amp envelope here. So that is kind of how a pad will go. I could probably give a little more juice on the attack time there, but we can always come back and modify that. Do these basics first, just knock these out quickly. And then what I'm gonna do is come back to the oscillator screen here. We have one layer or one oscillator active now. And in this velocity switch here, you're basically going to want that at 1 for a very basic pad. And what this means is when you play the Trinity, if the velocity that you press a key at is above 1, it will play the sample in the high slot. If it's beneath 1, it will play whatever's in the low slot. So I can put the velocity switch at 50. If you're a very expressive player, based on how you're playing, you can get 2 different sounds in one oscillator level. I like to just keep this at 1, and what that basically means is all you have to worry about is the high sound here. You will never trigger that low sound. So, cool. We want to change the piano sound here. I'm going to click in here, and it's going to bring up the sample browser. You can click into any of these banks here to see different oscillators. I just put it in all banks, and then you basically have to scroll through here. They need to put a little thing in there to flip through much more quickly, but nonetheless, I already know, actually I think I favorited this one. How do I view my favorite? Around 253, so let me unfavorite this. So these are all numbered. If you go to around the 200s, you start to get away from the bread and butter sounds and into some of the more synthy sounds. And so there's a really nice sound in here, this Syn vocalscape. This Syn air pad's very nice too. And so you have all sorts of nice paddy, airy sounds around this 250 area. I'm gonna grab the Syn vocalscape. And what's crazy is all we did was shape the amp envelope and swap out the oscillator. We already have a really nice sound. And so I'm hearing in my head, if we start to add some effects on here, this could sound quite good. So I'm gonna go to FX routing. By default, it is gonna route to the master. So what this means is it's not gonna go through any of the IFX. It's gonna go straight to the 2 master effect, but neither of those are enabled here. And I actually wanna use some IFX here. So I'm gonna change this from master to IFX1. And what that basically means is layer A, which is the program, is going to first go into IFX1. So then I have to enable IFX1, open this drop down, and these are all the different insert effects that you can put into here. I think we'll just keep it simple, start with like a nice fat chorus. After that chorus, you'll see we can flow the IFX either into another one, or we can just send it straight to the MFX here. Panning of the IFX, I'm gonna keep center. Width, I'm gonna jack that up for a nice stereo width, and then I'm going to send this to MFX 1 and 2. Again, we have nothing enabled in MFX, so I'm going to toggle on both of these MFX. In MFX1, you have a couple options you can put in. MFX2, a couple things you can put in. And then to actually hear the MFX, you're going to have to increase the return here on both of these. So return 1 is for the chorus here, return 2 is for the room. Let's edit the FX for the reverb here, and I'm actually going to switch to just a nice smooth haul. And then let's check out this chorus here. I'm actually gonna drop the LFO on the chorus. So it's slow, very slow chorus modulation. And as I look here, I just realized I have 2 choruses. So let's not do that. Maybe a phaser? And then if we're not hearing the phaser enough, we can increase that send here. And actually what I'm gonna do on the MFX2 is I'm gonna send the phaser into the reverb. You kind of hear that phaser, very subtle at the top. Man, I could rock with just that. So cool, let's sit here for a second. So we have a very nice pad, but I think it'd be nice if we got a little bit of filter action on there. And I'm gonna come to the filter screen now. You're gonna see we only have, in oscillator 1, we have 2 filters we could use. We have just filter A enabled, filter B is disabled. We have a low pass, fully open here. So if I drop this down, it's gonna cut out all that brightness. So the filters on the Trinity are extremely sensitive, especially as you start to increase that resonance. So it's very easy to start clipping or distorting your sounds in the Trinity. And so you gotta be like very careful at all stages, both the volume of the oscillators, the trim and the resonance on the filters, as well as in the FX screen. You have to be like very meticulous on, wet, dry, balance, everything there. But on the filters, pro tip, if you're starting to distort, you can drop the trim on the filters, which will help alleviate some of that. And then even before that, if you're stacking oscillators, it's okay to drop the volume or the amp level of each oscillator. And so what I think we'll do here, give it a little bit of resonance, which I think helps give it that up at the top. And so let's put a little bit of movement on the filter. So we're gonna come to the filter envelope here, filter 1EG, and I hate this UI here, but we're gonna sweep out the filter, give it a little bit of release. So we shape the filter envelope here that we wanna use to modulate the filter cutoff. We now have to apply the envelope to oscillator 1 filter A, because we have 2 filters. On the right, on this modulation section, one of the great things about the Trinity are all the different modulation sources that you can use here. And so basically, we gotta find our filter EG, here it is under oscillator 1, and we can set the depth or the intensity. Oh, this is so hard to read. The filter EG values here, they're like tiny. This is kind of crazy. And you're just hearing, God, the Trinity's filters are so good, so crisp, so airy, so playful. So let's come back. We just have one oscillator here. I could just roll with this, but let's take it a level deeper and let's enable oscillator 2 here. Korg, you have got to add a copy oscillator function in here. The hardware Trinity has it. The Triton has it. It would be a game changer here. You need to add it in, please, pretty please. So we've added oscillator 2 here. And it's gonna sound like crap because we have the piano in there. So what I may do, let's just do like a very simple one. I'm not gonna get crazy here. I'm gonna stack the same oscillator. So let's come back to favorites, vocalscape. Oh, good lord. I'm going to have to draw out the amp envelope again here to try to get the same one we have in oscillator A. Super annoying. So we're getting pretty hot here. We're stacking 2 oscillators, running out of headroom. So what I'm going to do is come to amp, and I'm going to drop the volume for both of these to around 100. Let's come back to oscillator here, and I'm going to start to detune oscillator 2. Oh my god, making micro changes in here is so hard. This is scrolling by so fast. Can I just double click? Oh, I can. Okay. Let's try like -5. Let's actually come back to amp here, and I want to pan. Let's pan oscillator 2 right, the other one left. Just make it nice and wide. And maybe we flip this one to a high pass. And actually, I'm going to mute oscillator 1 so I can focus on 2. Just realized the filter wasn't even turned on. This UI is kind of pissing me off, not gonna lie. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so let's draw a shape for oscillator 2 here. I think we'll kind of sweep. Apply it to oscillator 2. So because we have a high pass, we need to sweep it down. So when we add the filter EG to the intensity, instead of going positive, we go negative. And then I want to add a little bit of an LFO to the cutoff. Slow the frequency of it. Drop the trim. And let's come back and bring in the level. I'm kind of digging it. It's good enough. You guys are getting the gist of it. So I think what I'm going to do here, just a final touch, completely unnecessary. I'm going to enable IFX2. I'm going to come in to pull one of my favorite effects in here, the stereo random filter. I have a video about this. It's also in the Korg Trinity. Such a cool effect. So we come into here. Actually, let's come back to our routing. So this kind of trip you up too. If you flow the IFX into another IFX, it grays out the sends that you may have set in the previous one because we're now sending out into the width, MFX, etc. in the new one. So reset your width. So, how are we doing on our wet dry? hopefully that taught you guys a little bit about using the Trinity in practice here. And to save your program after you made it, you're going to click this little floppy disk icon here. This is going to pop up. Just give it a name, give it a category. This is useful later if you're doing filtering. So you can set all of these items here, the character, etc. And then when you save it, you can save it to one of the 4 program user banks. I'm going to save it to A, and then you can save it to any of the slots. I don't know if there are programs in any of these slots. That's a UI issue. They should update that and show you, but let's save it into 5 and hope there's nothing in there. Hit save. Very nice. Come on, Korg. That's just lazy. Anyway, so go back into the presets here, go to user bank A or wherever you saved it, and then you'll see your preset in there. So pretty basic, how to create an ambient pad in the Trinity. Hopefully you're hearing on this just how wispy and sizzly the Trinity's filters can get. And with all those modulation options you have on the filters, I mean, there's just so much cool stuff that you can do within here. Hope you guys found this useful. Hope you're playing around with the Trinity. Let me know down in the comments if you've started creating your own presets and how you found editing the Trinity. Have a good one.